everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dance Talk Realness, a podcast where we discuss all nuances concerning education and dance, because a dance experience is an experience worth talking about. I'm your host, Trilly B, and today I'm joined by my lovely guest, Miss Alisyn Hurd. Hey, boo.
Hi.
And before we jump into today's topic, our quote of the day is from Randy Swartz. Dance can be many different things. There's ballroom competition and dance therapy. There's dance fitness and backup dancers to pop icons. There are dance competitions, social dance, religious, and concert dance. You are all asking the wrong question. The fundamental question is, why do you dance? That is what motivates us to move. So, yay for variety. And speaking of, you specialize in many a thing that I do not. And so this is counting as expanding my horizons. So if you would be so kind as to just give a little bit of background about yourself for my audience.
Okay.
Quick little bio rundown.
Sure. Okay, so brief, a quick little.
You can take your time. I do what I want on here. It's fine.
No one's going to tell me no. Okay, so I started dancing when I was 4, doing ballet and in like gymnastics and like tap and jazz, you know, the little kid stuff. I grew up doing competitive figure skating, and in order to compete, I had to like seriously take ballet. So I started seriously taking ballet when I was in 4th grade. However serious, a super hyper for 8-year-old Alisyn could be. And then I was on dance team, which was like mostly like jazz. I use that loosely because I have a problem with that term because of what jazz dance was and what it is. That's a whole other talk. Anyway, then so when I got into college, I couldn't skate anymore, so I started taking more dance classes and decided to be a dance major. So that's when I got introduced to modern, contemporary, all that good stuff. I started teaching at a studio where I met my now husband, and he was teaching hip hop and breaking, and I was like, that guy's cute. I'm gonna take his class because I have that hour free. So I did, and so now I have been basically doing ballet for about 30-ish years, and I've been doing modern for about 20, is that math right? 20 years. Wow. And then I started breaking about 14 years ago now, and I have, through that world, through that breaking community and the hip hop dance community, I've been doing a lot of whacking, and I also kind of dabble in some other hip hop forms as well. And I do a little bit of tap here and there, but just like that much.
Like just a smidge.
Yeah, maybe that much. But so yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
If that answers your question. Okay.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And I want you to kind of pat your own back and shout yourself out for your most recent success.
So Digital Dance Arena is a brand new format for battling, since currently we cannot battle in person. And so these 2 dance artists out of Indianapolis decided to create an event where people literally from all over the world were able to compete against each other. It was an open styles battle, meaning you can dance whatever you want, whatever style you want. We would get sent a song, like a random song, and it was like, you have to dance to this song. You have like 10 hours, listen to it, record around, freestyle, and send it in. And I won that, and it was amazing, and I was really excited about it. And you know, there were dancers from all over the US, there were dancers from Europe, and it felt really good.
Throughout that process, because number one, it's amazing that they came up with a format that worked. Because I know there's always that concern of, especially with our field, that when we're not able to be in that space and be able to feel each other's energy, that it's not that we can't do it, but it's just a completely different vibe. And so what was that like for you participating?
That was a big struggle for me. Being in an actual battle and like the vibe of everybody around you, the energy of, you know, being really face to face with your opponent, the energy of like having your crew behind you, supporting you, the live DJ. It's so, I was always very aware of it, very conscious of it, but the absence of it was more profound than I was anticipating. I'm really blessed to have access to my studio. My husband and I run a studio together, and it's like 2 blocks from my house. So it is not lost on me how lucky I am to have that space to go to. But just going there and like being in this big room just alone with this like one song that I have to dance to, like that was really, really hard. That was definitely the biggest struggle for me, because it wasn't even necessarily that, like the energy was difficult, but then I just got in my head so much with no one else being around, like nitpicking myself so unnecessarily and causing so much stress. So I think I grew a lot as far as that is concerned. I really grew a lot in trying to be a lot more generous with myself. I think, and so the lack of the energy, and then because of nobody's there with you, just all of a sudden I can be like, ooh, but my hand kind of went here and it was supposed to go here. That's what I wanted to do, even though it was all freestyle. Like, that's so dumb. It's freestyle. Like, I wasn't doing choreography. Nobody knows if it was supposed to be here or here.
But you know.
But I knew.
You know.
So I found that I needed to be more gentle with myself. That's a better word for it. I needed to be more gentle to myself. And I think I have learned to do that in this process, and learn to find that energy in like how I'm feeling and how the music is feeling me, because I don't have those energies around me of the crowd and the opponent and my crew and all that, and the live music. And so that was, it was very interesting. And I just entered 2 more battles today. So I don't know.
Oh, wow. I love it
though. To myself. Right?
But it's a growing experience. So I think it's good.
For sure. And this, this situation that we're in, it's really given me something I'm teaching some like virtual classes, but it's given me something to kind of focus on for myself. It's given me goals to reach for. Because obviously, like, we don't have performances coming up. We had performances coming up, but who knows? So it allowed me to say, like, okay, here's a goal, here's something I can focus on, here's something I can work towards. I can keep training, I can keep myself in shape, I can keep taking classes with this kind of purpose to work towards. So that's been good for me.
Which actually is the perfect segue into the next question, is how has everything been for you with the quarantine? And just it just makes me sad every time I say it, because I'm like, wow, it's been a minute now. It's been months. It's been months, plural. And I'm like, yo, we've really not been with people. And I hate it here. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, I understand the importance of, everyone playing their part, staying home so people can stay safe, flatten the curve. I get it. I understand. I am doing my best to follow those instructions, but it still sucks. It's still hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, for me to have always been like, man, I'm tired. I would really love to just take a break from having to work. to a forced break, and I was like, oh, but wait, I didn't need that much. Like I just needed a couple days. Like I didn't need this.
Yeah. Well, and I find Jared, my husband, and I were talking about this today. I know you know Jared. The people don't know Jared. Jared's my husband. We were talking about this today. Like we feel like we have to like take like Sunday and we don't do anything because we don't have these confines of like, hey, I'm in the studio from this time to this time. I go in a little bit early and I stay a little bit late, but this is my work time. It's like 18 hours a day is my work time now. Yeah. And so it's like all we're doing is like working out, training, and working. And it's like, okay, how? I'm not even at work. Like, how? So what we've been doing is for our studio, Fly City Studios, shout out. We've been doing virtual classes through the Band app, which has been really great because it's I don't get to see them, but they can like I can take attendance and they can like check in and like ask questions like text wise and stuff. And it's been working really well for all of us and everybody that's been taking class. They're not required. We're not charging anything. We're just open and providing a space for our dancers and our community to kind of have some semblance of normalcy or have an outlet from their day or keep themselves in shape and keep themselves moving and get that serotonin or whatever it is that they need it for. We do a lot of our students, well, we do like tuition assistance and we do and with multiple forms of tuition assistance. And so we always want to make, because we believe, wow, let me try that sentence again. We believe quality dance education should be accessible to anybody, regardless of your finances or even your parents' willingness to pay for classes for you. Because we've had people who are like, hey, my kid wants to dance, but I will not pay for them. And we're like, okay, well, here's a scholarship, you know, like, because they have a heart for it and they have a passion for it, but their parents or whatever. And so we're not charging, you know, but it's been really good. Some people have been paying, which has been nice because we still have to pay the consumers. We didn't qualify for the small business loan because that's a whole thing. Yes to that face.
Like,
yeah. And so that's been really good. It's kind of just keeping our community together a little bit. And I personally have been try to take class every day. So I found an artist that I really like, and I take his ballet class twice a week. And I try to take my friends' classes if they're teaching something that fits into my schedule. And if I don't take an actual class, like through Instagram or whatever, I'm just training because, like I said, like it's not lost on me. I'm very blessed to have access to our studio, and so yeah, that's what we've been doing. I have read a couple of books, and nice. I beat Toad's Treasure Tracker 100%, and for real though,
I love it.
we just started a really awesome 1,000-piece Mike Mignola puzzle with like all the characters from the Hellboy universe. So that's what we're doing with our time. Oh, we've been also like just organizing our entire lives. We have cleaned out our basement. We have we reorganized every single book in our library, like cataloged it. Every piece of media we own is cataloged and alphabetized and categorized.
So, you need to come visit me and come help me out because I need all the I've done none of those things.
To be fair, we also don't have children. Okay. So I totally understand that, like, we have that freedom.
That's fair.
The book project though, because like we don't really have a dining room. It's like a library. Like all the walls have bookshelves and it's just full. That was an entire month, a whole
Wow.
month to do. It was, we were just like, oh my God, we got rid of like 4 books in that process.
It's so hard to get rid of books though.
Yeah.
Like I will keep books forever, even if I know I will never read it again. I'm like, but you never know. I might need this someday. And I just like having books.
To be fair, 2 of the books we got rid of were duplicates that we had we were like, oh, I have 2 of these. Let's get rid of the not as nice one.
That's fair. Because I definitely have, there's like a whole like book series that I have a duplicate of. And I'm like, I don't know why I have this, but I might need this duplicate. I don't know. I might need 2 of this book, which makes 0 sense. And they're still upstairs. One's on one bookcase and the other's on the other. And I'm like, and they will be there for a little bit longer at least. Like the bookcase behind me, like you can't see it, but like all the Alisyns books are like filtered throughout on that side. And then upstairs, I have 1, 2, 4 bookcases. First of all, I be filling all these bookcases. It's me. No one else in the house. It's all me. And like my PhD books are upstairs because that's where I do my work in bed. I should not. That's a really bad habit. But then I'm like, I get tired reading sometimes. I'm like, the pillow's right there. So I just take a nap. And then I wake up and start reading again. And it's okay.
You are describing my year residency at Holland.
Yeah.
When I wasn't in class. It was like, okay, I have to read 5 chapters right now.
Yes.
Okay, half a chapter, then a nap.
Like, okay.
Then I'll get back to it.
Yes. That is literally how I break up my reading. I'm like, okay, if you can finish 2 more pages, you can sleep for 20 minutes. Yes. You can do this. And I set my alarm. I read those pages and I kindly go to sleep. And it's great. It's been working so far. It didn't work the first couple semesters, but now that I am more adjusted to these types of texts, I'm like, okay, I can try to power through this. But around the point that I realized I keep reading the same sentence over and over, I'm like, okay, let's just go ahead, take the nap now.
Yeah.
And then we'll just try it again when we wake up. The one I'm doing right now is one that we've read. And so I'm like, I am still just as confused reading it the second time through. I'm just like, I still don't know what's happening. But the stuff that I underlined, I will say at least I did a good job of underlining. Because I'm like, oh, this actually does sound like it's important. And it does sound like it's the point of this paragraph. So that's good. But I'm like, I read a couple and I'm just like, take a nap. We're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But, so because you told me prior to, and you just mentioned it, that you and Jared are still training in addition to teaching and reorganizing your entire lives.
Yes.
So what is your training schedule like?
Okay, so we try to, with these, regular training schedule is we try to go into the studio and we try to work on like our breaking for probably I'd say 4 days a week for between 1 and 2 hours each day normally. And then I am taking a ballet class every Tuesday and Thursday morning. I was taking this really fantastic Horton technique class Tuesdays and Thursdays, but then the ballet guys switched to Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I felt like I needed that in my life at the moment. And then I just try to jump in and, I shouldn't play with that microphone, sorry. I just try to jump in and take whatever classes I can, as long as it's fitting into my schedule. And there was like 8 classes I wanted to take yesterday, but they were all while I was teaching, and I was like, So I don't know if that answered your question. So I try to dance. I try to dance 5 to 6 days a week. Okay. For at least an hour a day.
And
is
are
my
y'all usually taking the
intention.
classes together, or you both just know in your head that, okay, I'm aiming for at least X amount of time a day?
When we go into the studio, we will just work together, and we'll
Okay.
just like be training and working on like specifically breaking technique together and building up our sets or working on our footwork or whatever it is we're working on. But like I take the ballet class by myself at the kitchen table. That's my bar. And then Jared, he does different training because he does like weights and like all this stuff that
Okay.
because he's like crazy strong. Um, so while I'm taking ballet in the dining room, he is in the living room with like his 35-pound kettlebell, like swinging it around.
Oh,
And
jeez.
yeah, so
I would break something on my body or in the house or both.
right, our house is old. It's like 105 years old, and
Wow.
it's delicate. And yeah, it's actually fun fact about my house. It was the first house ever built in my neighborhood.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
fancy.
and right, but no, it's not fancy. It's just old. And and so when I did the digital dance arena battle, I went to the studio because I was like, I am gonna fall through the floor into the basement if I try to do breaking in this house. And even like with whacking, like if I try to do like, a cartwheel or something, like
Yeah.
it's not gonna end
It's,
well. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, we try to kind of work at the same time, but it's not always on the same like subject matter, so to say. We frequently take each other's classes that we are teaching for our studio.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight, because we're kind of on a weird schedule right now because of some other obligations that we have, we had a modern class and then followed by a conditioning and hip hop class. So Jared's in charge of the hip hop side of our studio. And he teaches all those classes, but I took the class and did it with him. He took ballet with me on Friday, and I took his breaking class. And so it's like a whole, we try to keep it together because then
Yeah.
we're staying together. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
then we just get on weird off schedules, and it's like, wait, you ate lunch 3 hours ago? I haven't even had breakfast yet. I don't even know what's happening with this day. So we're trying to like maintain some sort of semblance of normalcy because that's how we live our lives when we're in our
Yeah.
normal routine. So
Yeah. Um, so how have your students kind of been adapting?
um well, good question. I think that they have been, number one, figuring out how to make the best of like a small space when movement's required. Frequently, when I'm teaching my classes, can I help you? Frequently, when I'm teaching my classes, there's a cat right there. Um, oh, there's a cat behind me. Okay, I'm just in a little chair. I don't know where he's going. Okay.
Still trying to live his
Uh,
best life?
he's standing on the back of my chair. Okay. Hey, dude. So when I'm teaching my classes normally, okay, see you later. Um, I a lot of times I'm trying to teach. I actually try to teach them like ballet and modern. I just do a bar. We don't do like a full center floor. We're not gonna do like a ground allegro and you're like in your apartment. So a lot of times I'll teach those classes actually in my house in like kind of like a solidarity with
Yeah.
their lack of space, and it also helps keep me kind of in check to be like, hey, okay, this is how much room you have. Someone might have less than that, so let's make sure we're moving together. So uh they have been they've been pretty good. Like I know that a lot of people are kind of handling this situation different. Everyone's dealing in different ways. Everyone's family's dealing in different ways. Not everybody has access to necessarily be able to stream all the classes. Like, if it's a kid and like their mom, they only have like one smartphone in the house, and she's got to work or whatever. Like, so we're not being hard on our kids. So anytime that or actually a lot of probably 50% of our student base is adults, actually. We have a lot of adult students at our studio. but even so, I found that the people who are participating are like, this is something that they are really looking forward to. It's something that's been meaning a lot to them. Um, and they have been just like sending me like pictures of like, hey, I'm in my little bedroom, but look at me like trying to do an X combination on the floor. And I feel like people are really kind of taking ownership of their dance and their training in this moment, because we're not making it a requirement and we're not charging and we're, you know, all these things. The people who are like stepping up and are like, I want to do this, I want to be a part of this, I want to train. And they're, you know, we're not limiting like, hey, if you've never done breaking, don't take this breaking class. We're opening it up to everybody, and we're trying to make them kind of more of a like a mid-level sort of class for everything that we're doing, and then giving options to like, hey, if you need to make this easier, try this. If you need to make it more challenging for yourself, try this. Because we want it to be accessible and we want people to have the option for it. So we've found we've got people like taking classes that they've never taken before, taking classes they didn't know that they'd be interested in, like strictly hip hop students taking ballet and taking modern like religiously. So it's been really cool. It's been really cool to see that, and that kind of like growth and dedication with a lot of our students. So
it's always heartwarming to hear when like students like step up, adult or non-adult children, I guess you would call
children,
them.
I think there's a word for it. Yeah.
Non-adults, them. But that idea of taking ownership of your own training and adapting, because I can't say like my semester is finally actually done. Grades have been submitted, and so many of my students really did step up and they just adapted the way that they had to for their space. And I was like, that's all I wanted you to do. Like, just make it work for you. If you're like, okay, well, this movement is not going to work, like I cannot do this at all in this space, then do something that looks like it, so I know that you at least understood that that existed. But you know, you do what you have to do. And so I was proud to watch their final presentation. I was like, oh, look at y'all. You better go ahead, level one. In my advanced class, they did well, but I expected them to do well because they were advanced. But the beginners like really did a great job. So I was very excited for that.
That's awesome.
Sue, we are going to jump tracks.
Okay.
And we are going to a subject matter that you brought up to me.
Okay.
And like I told you before, you're going to be the one talking because this is your area. And I will just be like, yes, I will agree with whatever you say. And I will ask questions as needed. But battling and the importance of freestyling. So I think my first question is, while in theory, I'm like, yes, these are two different things. Are they always two different things?
No.
Okay.
So there's a different way that you dance when you're battling than you dance when you're just dancing. At least for me personally, and I know with conversations with other dancers that's true as well. If I'm just at the studio and we're at session is like it's like a practice time where it's usually like, for us it's like 3.5 hours usually, and 3 hours, and music is playing. You don't get to pick the music, you dance to the music that's there. You train, you work on like grooving and vibing, you work on like, you know, tricks and whatever. I don't like that term, but I don't know what else to call it in this. So like that is like just feeling it and grooving it and being in that moment is one thing. And then and freestyling and having that connection, that like genuine connection to the music and letting it move through you and not worrying about like being judged, like literally, because there's no judges there to determine, you know, who if you're doing it right or if you're going to win or lose or whatever. and in those moments, those are the moments where you find like the things that you want to kind of solidify or like keep revisiting when you do go to battles. So we do have these things called sets in breaking, which is kind of like a specific set of movements, to just reuse the word, where like my top rack, so like my up top, like dancing to the music, is always freestyle. Go down on the floor, my footwork, like when you're kind of in like a crouch position, you're moving around, if you don't know it. So if these are my feet, like but all hands on the
Yes,
floor too. So like that's pretty much always freestyle, just like moving, and like you can anticipate like a beat that's gonna come up in a way that you can like hit it really strong or like go at your opponent. And then usually you go at the end, you go to your set, which is like a specific like order of movements that you have created that's unique to you. And so it's almost like that part is like choreographed, but not always. It can be like, oh, I like to do this like illusion drop down, and sometimes I go into this and sometimes I go into this, and but I know I want to do that move.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And so like the aggressiveness, yes, you need to connect to the music. Yes, you need to like let it move you, and you need to be responding like honestly to it. But there's like an extra step up of like aggressiveness and intention behind what you're doing, and how you're approaching like your opponent. Some people do this dance the same, and they don't, and that kind of drives me crazy. Like when I'm judging battles, and be like, okay, this is a battle. Like you're gonna win a bunch of money or a trophy or swag or whatever it is, and it's like you're just like, hey, this song's great. I'm like, cool, like I'm glad you like it, but like you're battling, like go, like you didn't even cross the center line, you just stayed on your, drives me crazy. So, and also, and then freestyling for performance is a whole other thing as well, because you have to consider the audience and their knowledge of the form that you're doing. If they don't know anything about breaking, you typically stick to like the bigger, flashier movements and not the like really technical steps that people who do breaking, who know breaking, would be like, oh, nice, nice 8-step or whatever. And but like, so on the stage and performance, it's a whole other type of freestyle. Let the music move you, connect to it, always, 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 no matter which one you're at. But like for performances, it tends to be bigger and flashier. Session, it's whatever you need in your soul in that moment. Battling, it's aggressive and super intentional and forward. Sometimes in crew battles, so if it's not just like a 1v1, if it's like me, like a 2v2 or whatever, you can have like crew routines or commandos, and that would literally be like a choreographed or preset thing where like I go out and I freestyle and I do my thing, but like, hey, I'm gonna bring in Jared, and he knows that like after I do like a cross turn, we're gonna come in together and do this at the same time.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna take the round. So those happen as well. But the whole movement, the whole form is based in freestyling. For most hip hop dance forms, for sure, I am a very firm believer in being able to freestyle or improvise any genre of dance. So almost every modern dance class I teach, we do improvisation, we do freestyle. I frequently make or allow my ballet students to do improvisation. We'll give like structure to it, like, okay, I want you to do some type of jump, whatever, and like across the floor, your choice, so that they have a chance to share their voice, like what they want to say in that moment, what their body feels like it needs to do. It's just super important, and it's so it's so freeing once you get past yourself.
Yeah.
You know, when I started breaking, that was my biggest like hill to get over. Was I came from, you know, figure skating, I came from ballet and modern, where in that world, at least with like all the people that had been bringing me up and training me or whatever, every single little move was scrutinized. And that is so stressful. But I love to dance and I love to move and I love to express. And I was always just like really, really hyper. So obviously I have to do something movement based or else I'm going to go crazy like in a cubicle. Like I cannot do this. And so my biggest hill that I had to get over was the freedom of freestyling. The modern dance that I was trained up in for the couple of years that I was doing it before I started breaking, like we never did improvisation. And now, like looking back on that, I'm like, why? You know, I know you have like your syllabus that you got to get through, but don't train me to be a copy machine. Like I'm so much more than that. My voice is bigger. Everybody's voice is bigger than that. Everybody's voice is more important than that. Certainly 100%. Yes, there is value in that, in being able to do other people's choreography, being able to do whatever, like combinations and stuff. And it has value, and I'm not discrediting that at all, but like what painter like learns the technique of painting only to copy other people's paintings? Like you have something to say.
That is a good analogy.
Thank you.
It's like that is good.
So you have something to say, you have a picture that you want to create, and in dance and in freestyle, or in dance, and the freestyle part of it is just it's for me, it's become such an important part of my teaching and who I am as an artist. And I get students very regularly who, you know, grew up in the same world that I did. And they're like, hey, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to take a breaking class. And I'm like, awesome, let's do it. And so we learn foundation and we do like across the floor drills and we work on technique. And then at the end of every single class, we freestyle and everybody takes a turn. And if it's your first day, I'm okay if you go out there and you do like 2 things that you learned that day. Like that's your voice for the day, and that's okay. Nobody gets to like not do it though.
Yeah.
So if you come take class from me, you're going to be freestyling, especially if it's breaking or modern. It's gonna be, you're gonna have some improvisation, some freestyle in there. Be forewarned.
I 100% need to be in the modern class. That has to happen. I will attempt breaking. I'd be struggling though. It is the weirdest thing.
What?
It is weird. I'd be struggling.
To do breaking? Just in general?
I would say in general sometimes. Anything outside of modern, it is like kind of struggle bus. And I'm like, and I'm not bad at other things. It just takes so much longer for things to click. And then it's like when they click, I'm like, okay, but they moved on like a month ago. But I finally got it. I understand.
Yes. That's what matters. Your timeline is yours. Comparison is the devil.
It is.
No.
What's funny is I always, like how you were saying earlier, of just giving yourself more grace, being gentler with yourself. I am the harshest person on me. And I hear the things I say to students where I'm like, I don't want you to look at anyone else. I'm not comparing you to anyone. You are compared to how you were the last time you did it. That's all I'm looking at. Are you growing? Are you putting forth the effort? And it's like, I cannot turn that back around on me. I'm just like, no, everyone has it. I can't do it. I'm like, I need to work on that. It is a thing because I'm definitely having them do what I say, not as I do. And I'm like, I need to be a better example for my students.
I think that acknowledgement is the first step, so that's
Yeah.
good.
It's like, it's in process. I'm working on
Yes.
it.
I had when I won that battle, they did an interview with me remotely, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was talking about, get out there and just dance, go into your bedroom and just turn some music on and just dance. Like, let yourself move. Be comfortable with your moving body without being told what to do. And then you can take that energy and you can take that developed comfort, because it takes a minute to develop it for some people, for sure, myself included. Take that developed comfort and get it in the cipher. Get out there and like understand that the people at session and the people at a battle or at a jam or whatever, like, they don't care if you can do 80 head spins. Like, they don't care. Even the people that can do 80 head spins don't care. It's like, we just want you to participate. We want you to share your voice. We want you to just be a part of the community. And so I was talking about that in that interview, and a friend of mine called me and she was like, why don't you just at me next time? Basically.
Yes. Like, next time, just go ahead, put my whole name out there because you were talking about me. That's nice. Thanks.
I was like, I genuinely was talking to me like 15 years ago. Those are the things I needed to hear. Those are the things I needed to understand. And especially if you want to participate in battles, like, you have to freestyle. Everybody knows when you're doing choreography. Like,
yeah,
everybody knows it, like, because it can be dope, but there's a specific feel to it. And if you're going to a battle of some sort and you're like, I'm gonna do this choreography, you don't get to pick the music. Like, like, oh, I have this dope choreography that's like 1, 2, 3, and 4, but the music doesn't have that 3 and 4 sound, and you just look stupid. So there you go. But nobody cares, and we just want you to dance and participate. Just kidding. Don't do choreography in a freestyle battle.
True. That is a very interesting, because it's, I think, across the board with any type of improvisation, that for some reason, people really think that, like, we can't tell the difference between the two. And I'm just like, but I can tell when, like you said, like, there's a feel to it that I'm like, yeah. I was like, it's awesome, it's great. I'm 100% sure you choreographed that, though. Like, you worked that out.
Yeah.
And it can be equally just as great to just be free with it. I'm like, but it's that comfort level. I love improv. I love it, but I am friends with so many people. I have a friend who's probably going to say, okay, well, at me next time. She knows who she is. Hates improv. And I'm just like, but it is the most fun thing ever. Like, you get to just be you. You don't have to worry about, am I getting the choreographer's message across? Like, am I in sync with everyone else? Like, it's you. And similarly, it did take me some time to get used to being comfortable with it. But once I got comfortable, I was like, oh, we can improv all the time. Like, don't even give me set choreography at this point. Like, just let me improv, let me work something out. It'll be fine. It'll look great. And so now I purposefully have to take classes where I have to learn someone's movement, because otherwise I'm like, I legit will just improv and only be worried about, like, movement that I'm generating. But I love it. And I always love when people are encouraging that, because it's, especially for everyone, but I enjoy seeing in the younger students, teaching them to think that you have gotten all these skills from learning a technique. So how do you express yourself by putting them together? and how do you use them as a jumping point to take you somewhere else? Right. And I think that ability to be able to think is so important. And there's still too many people who don't really see the value in that in dance, that still perpetuate the cookie cutter idea, of which, in fairness, I will say that there's a time and a place for that.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, there's always a time and a place where I'm like, but I said that's on count 8, not on the end of 8, not on the 7. It is on 8. I'm gonna need you to be on this 8, and I need y'all to be together, clean, crisp. But at the same time, you should be able to flip the switch and be able to think and process and work through ideas on your own and see where it goes.
Right. Especially if you yourself want to like be a choreographer, like, oh, that's what I want to be. I want to, like, how do you think so many of us come up with our choreography? We put the music on and we dance, or we have a feeling in mind and we dance that feeling, or, you know, like, you have to be able, you can't just be like, okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, because every piece is going to look exactly the same. Like, you can't do that.
Like, I feel like someone out there in these streets is doing that, and I'm like, please stop. It's okay. It's okay.
They're probably getting paid way too much, too. Well,
how about that? Just saying.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a time and a place, but I run a studio, and then I also have my own company, and so, like, yeah, I have a piece and I want it to look a certain way, and you need to do this choreography on the right counts, but then in almost probably 99% of the pieces I've choreographed, there's large sections of improv where it's like, this is the feel, like, express that, like, so yeah.
So that leads me to ask, how are things going with the company? Well, this adaptation.
Adaptation.
Yes.
Oh man, we had a concert that we were supposed to do that we cannot do. I don't know when it's ever gonna happen. And we perform at 80s Fest every year, which is in Frankenmuth, and it's like a big benefit. It's like a big, I go every year because we've been performing at this benefit for like the last 15 years, and it's a big benefit for the American Cancer Society, and it's super fun. And that was last month, and so that didn't happen. So now I have a piece for 80s Fest ready for next year. So we, you know, we are starting a new project. We're gonna do like a video, obviously, and that was one of my things on my to-do list for tomorrow, is send out everybody's specific song sections that they're going to be doing, and it's this beautiful, fun, upbeat song, and I just want everyone's just going to be moving in their own style. Our company is based in primarily in contemporary dance and breaking. We also do jazz and ballet and other hip hop forms like house and whacking and stuff like that. So we have a lot of different talents in our group. And so everybody is gonna participate in this. Not everybody, some people can't. Some people have some health and injury issues and stuff going on that they're taking this time to heal, which is good. It came at the right time for them, I suppose. But everyone's got to kind of take this song and share their own voice. Like I said, share their own voice in each of their sections. It's a really fun song. It's in Spanish, but the lyrics are about like standing up to fascism and being like anti-colonialism, anti-racism, anti-sexism, anti-homophobia, all these things. So it's a fantastic song, and it's super fun. So that's like the next thing that we're working on, trying to, you know, keep us all together and on the same page, and it's gonna be fun. It is going to be fun. It's going to challenge my video editing skills.
Yes.
Which is fine. So we can't wait to get back together. We can't wait to dance together. Our crew, because we have our company, which is like a professional performance company. But then we also have a crew, which does battles and performances and stuff. So both sides of that are itching to get back together, but not at all trying to rush it.
So with the video, I'm so excited to see your editing skills come into play. How are you, I guess, sharing said video?
I'm gonna post it on our Facebook page, and I think I'm gonna post like clips of it on our Instagram, or I might just do like an Instagram TV, so you can just watch the full video. And then YouTube is tricky because of music copyright stuff. We got in trouble a lot just for like battle footage, like music I wasn't even playing and the DJ was playing, and they're like, hey, we're gonna delete your entire account. So we haven't been posting anything to our YouTube. I'm not even joking. And we just
I believe it.
we haven't posted anything to our YouTube page because of that in probably like 4 years. And we just got a video flagged like 3 days ago, one that's been up forever, and it was like a guest artist piece from one of our concerts. So it wasn't even one of our own pieces. It was like a video from another artist that was in our concert that we just like, of course.
I've been flagged before, and I was like, okay, my bad.
So,
sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. I didn't write my own music for this.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing it on our social media platforms and individually, hopefully sharing it as well. I would hope everybody in the company would share it. That'd be pretty lame if they did it.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Yay, I look forward to seeing it. Yeah. I'm already excited. You're doing a great sales pitch right now.
Thank you so much.
So before I let you run away, I did want to, and you've touched on this some, but to talk a little bit more about cross influences within, I guess we can talk specifically about how you're, like within your company, because I do know that because you mentioned it with the studio, that you do encourage dancers to take various forms, like, okay, your primary may be modern, but you should also take this ballet class. You should also take this breaking class. So within the setting of the company with your dancers who are more than likely coming to you already, like, okay, I've spent X amount of years doing this thing here. Maybe I've done some of this thing. Like, how do you kind of navigate that space?
Yeah. So when you join our company, because it's based in like contemporary, modern contemporary, and then also like breaking, you're not required to do both, but you are encouraged to learn and train in both. So we have one of our dancers. He grew up training mostly as a b-boy and a popper and hip hop dancer. He did studio, like competition studio, but mostly just did hip hop. He started getting into contemporary a little bit, like his junior and senior year of high school. And so he joined us, and he was primarily a breaker, primarily a b-boy, but he's been taking ballet like very regularly for the last few years. He's been training with us contemporary. He's been cast in contemporary pieces that I've choreographed, and who I am as a dancer, having these various languages in my body itself, I tend to choreograph that way anyway. So my most recent piece is called Standing the Rain, and it's a piece about different coping mechanisms with depression. And it is 100% like a modern contemporary dance, however you want to label it. But I have a whole couple of sections that are based in breaking technique, but done like in this like kind of adagio. I keep getting tangled, I'm sorry. Done in this like adagio kind of feel, but it's a movement that would typically be like in stick, but we've kind of translated it over. So that's where I think a lot of the dancers have found like value in the like cross training, so to say, because teaching you that from scratch in the parameters of like, this is a piece of choreography and it needs to be done this way is like really, really difficult and really challenging. But if you already kind of have that understanding in your body of like, oh, I have to place my arm here and I have to reach this way, and that doesn't look weird. Imagine that this is the ground. And it doesn't look weird because I already understand where to put it in my body, like how to put my body there. And so we always encourage our dance, like you can come in just as like solely a hip hop dancer, you can come in solely as a contemporary dancer or a jazz dancer. But we highly encourage them to train with us. We're there together for company class regardless. So this is what you're going to work on. This is what we're going to learn. But going to open session, like if you're primarily a contemporary dancer, you're going to an open session. You don't even have to go to the one that we host, going to any of the ones that happen all over the state of Michigan. And just broadening your horizons and opening up your I don't know the word that I'm looking for. I don't know, your ability, maybe? Like you're opening up yourself to further all those things. We have like Jared, he was choreographing this piece. He quit because he didn't feel like he felt like he got out what he needed to say in the process and didn't feel like it needed to be presented, as happens sometimes. But he was creating this piece. It was to a Childish Gambino song. Yes. We were in sneakers. We were doing these like movements, but it was like, okay, and then we're gonna all like float up, and then it melts down, and you go to a contraction, and then you push out, and it was beautiful, and it felt amazing, and it was so hard, and I just I think I had said this to you. I don't know if we were recording yet, but like I don't like being in a box.
Yeah.
And I appreciate when I'm being choreographed on that same way. It feels good. I like it, and it challenges my brain. It challenges my body because I know that like I can come back to this, but I can also like get away from it and know that anytime I want, I can return there. And I like that our dancers are like learning that too, or like I can come to this, but I can melt through and then return to it later. So I think we would like our company to be a little bit bigger, to be frank, because I think that scares people away sometimes. They think, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spin on my head. And you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
But like we don't require anybody to be all of it. You know, we have like company A, company B, company C. Company A is all styles of dance. Company B is breaking and hip hop. Company C is contemporary and jazz. Makes sense. Also, like the fact that ABC matches like the titles, it's really helpful.
It does. I was like, that worked out quite well.
Yeah. So yeah, we just really encourage people. We have this dancer right now in our company, and she's a amazing tap dancer. Amazing, just like shredding the floor. And then she was my student for years when she was in high school and like early college age. She was taking breaking and hip hop from me. She was taking modern from me. And then we kind of drifted apart. We for a few years. And then we got back in touch, and she'd still been dancing and been training. And she's like, hey, I really want to audition for your company. Like, I think this is, I think this is a good fit for me because of like the training that I brought her up. Not saying it's all me, because she definitely had other teachers who were awesome. And her own work ethic certainly plays a part, but she has been such a fantastic fit this year. And it's been so great and so refreshing. And she's just like, I don't know how to do that, but let's learn it. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm excited. Like, yes, let's have everybody have that attitude. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Now, have you had many who were like, nah, I'ma just do this thing that I know how to do? Like, has that been a common occurrence, or not really so much?
Like, of people who have joined the company?
Yes.
I have found that a lot of people have been really open. And I think part of it is like, hey, like, you have the opportunity to be in more pieces. You have the opportunity to do more performances, to get more roles, to get more paychecks. If you expand yourself out. I don't think it's just the financial, but I think it's just like, okay, I like to move, and I like these people. Like, it's always been like a really great group of people to be around, and a good group of people that Jared and I try to as best as we can kind of create like a safe space for failure. So we like to say, like, failure is always an option. Like, that means you are pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Awesome. That's fantastic. So what if you fell? Cool. What can we learn from it? And so we always try to kind of create that atmosphere as best as we can in our company, in our rehearsals, and also like with our students. Especially, I think, coming from a space where like failure wasn't frequently an option. And it was like, you should know this, do it. It's like, I'm sorry.
Like, I don't know. Panic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so I think that because that's kind of like the atmosphere that we really strive to create inside of our rehearsals, especially within like company class, within training, like working on choreography, we're a little bit more strict because like we got deadlines, and we got shows coming up. But within like the training aspect of it, we try to make people feel comfortable to fall, to put themselves in like an awkward shape, to do like a flat back, and they've never done a flat back before, but knowing that no one's going to be like, way to round your upper back on your flat back, loser. Like, that's not going to happen. So I think because like we've really it's very important for us to have that type of atmosphere there, that I think we've had a lot of people who almost everybody has been like, yeah, let's do it, let's try. Sure. What's the worst that can happen? I don't do good. Oh well.
Yeah. And that's a life lesson being taught. Like, that goes so far beyond learning technique and performing it. It goes so much further to just to know that like failure is always an option. It's what you do with that failure that you need to look at. So yes, teaching life lessons. Yes.
Well, it's so often in those failure moments, like that's where you like find happy accidents. You're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, but that was so great. And that goes back to like the freestyling, like opening yourself up to freestyle and working through that, because it's like, oh, geez, I ended up here. And then you look and it's like, oh, that actually looks cool. Let me do it on purpose this time. So
like, because sometimes the accident is so much better than what you planned.
So much better.
And it's like, yes, like this is what needs to go here. Like, I used to torment students with that, but I was like, that's not what I wanted, but I want that now. Like, that's what we're going to do. And they're like, but that was an accident. It is a great accident. I like it. It is now there.
Yeah.
I am here for it. All right. So now it is time for our ultimate dance trio.
Ultimate dance trio, okay.
Yes. So, my question for you is, what are 3 tips you would give a dancer that is interested in learning more about breaking, especially for those that have no background whatsoever? So, pretend it's a me.
Okay. How can I pretend it's you? Okay. So if you are interested in breaking, 3 tips. Okay, is this a post quarantine or a in quarantine question? Because that's gonna change my answer.
Let's be fancy and do both.
Okay. Oh, dang. Okay.
Sorry.
So no, you're fine.
Made life a little bit harder for you today.
Okay. So in quarantine. Okay. Number 1, look up breaking YouTube videos. It sounds ridiculous, but sincerely, don't look up like hip hop dance because you'll just get like choreo. Hey, but if you look up breaking or b-boy or b-girl battles, you're gonna learn a lot about how the dance form works in that aspect of the community. There are excuse me, there are various tutorials online from like well-known b-boys and b-girls who will be like, hey, let's learn how to do some foundational footwork moves. Try it, try to take the class or find a live stream breaking class. A beginner, obviously a beginner breaking class. Don't jump into an advanced class. That's going to be bad news bears. So if find a live stream beginner breaking class. They're out there. I teach one every week, Jared and I. So take mine if you need to. And then dance, just dance. Once you figure out a little bit of the foundation, practice it, repeat it, train it, and try to just put on some music, put on some breaks, some break beats, which if you go on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, there are tons of breakbeat mixes, beats for breaking, beats for b-boy summit, whatever, 2000 mixtape, whatever. There's 1,000 and they're all over on all the platforms. And just take what you've learned and just dance and just do it. Just try it. Post quarantine, once we're allowed to be human again, do all that, but then go to find an open session in your area. Breaking is worldwide. It is everywhere. It started in the Bronx, but it is everywhere in the world. It's nationally sponsored art form in South Korea. I mean, come on now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So just find a place that has an open session and just go, and you can be shy and you can let your anxiety stress you out. I get it. It'll happen. Just take that energy, and even if you don't dance the first time you go and you just meet people, you'll find 95% of the time they're like, hey, cool, a new person. We're so glad to have you. So watching breaking videos, breaking tutorials, live streaming some breaking classes, just dancing on your own, get out, go to an open session or a practice session or whatever people call it in whatever region they're in, because regionally things are different. You know that. We say pop, okay? Don't
Because it is pop. Oh my God.
Pop. Okay.
It is pop. Yes.
And then on top of that, then I would go to battles. If you go on to Facebook, there's this place. It's called Facebook. I don't know if you've heard of it. But they have forums or not forums anymore. They used to be called forums back in the day before there was Facebook.
True statements.
Yeah. But there's like groups that you can join. So if you just like, hey, I'm in North Carolina and I want to learn about breaking, there's literally a group called North Carolina B-Boys and B-Girls. I'm a part of that group because Hollins was so close to North Carolina, and I went to multiple battles while I was there. Like, just search your city, search your state. There's a Michigan B-Boy, there's a Michigan B-Boy, there's a Michigan Street Dance Alliance. We're trying to get a chance to Michigan B-Boys and B-Girls.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
Few of us out here, include us. But yeah, so that will connect you to a community, and don't be, one thing that you should not be is don't be what we call an e-boy, where you just dance in your house or in your really tiny like podunk community, and so you're like a big fish in that really really small pond, and then you get on the computer and you're like meh, meh, meh,
yeah.
and then you don't go to any battles and any jams. Don't do that. That's what you should not do.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Nobody likes that person. Nobody does. And that person probably doesn't even like themselves. So just don't. That's just so bad. Like, engage in the community. Be a part of the community. Go to session. Dance. Get over the fear of not being the best in the room, or someone's going to critique you or judge you or whatever, because we might give you pointers, we might help you out and be like, hey, can I help you with this? I noticed that if you lean forward a little bit more, yeah, cool, like I'm not hating on you, I'm helping you become better. So be open to accepting those criticisms isn't a good word, but constructive criticisms. And don't think that people are just like hating on you or whatever, because it's not the case. So I think that was 6.
It's close enough. It's close enough. We'll count it. Okay. Awesome. Thank you again for joining me. Do you have any social media that you would like to plug for people to follow you, the company, your studio, all the things?
Sure. You can follow me on Instagram at Alisyn VADC. That's ALISYN VADC, Vertical Ambition Dance Company. You can follow Vertical Ambition Dance Company has a Facebook page that you can like and follow. We have an Instagram at Vertical Ambition, and then you can also follow the travels and experiences of our crew at Vertical Ambition Crew, and that is both on Instagram, and then on our studio is Fly City Studios, FLI-City Studios, and that's our handle on Instagram, and that's our name on our Facebook page as well. We don't do Twitter right now. Someday maybe I'll try it again. I did it like 10 years ago, and I was like, I don't think I like this, and I don't think I've been back since.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. But we're trying to be a little bit more active. We're this quarantine kind of threw a stick in our bicycle spokes for our social media, because it's like, well, I'm not doing anything, but we're working on creating some more content. So if you're like, hey, I'm gonna follow this page, and then be like, oh, your last post was like a month ago, like, yeah, okay, I know, because I have been at my house, I don't know what you want to see, but we're working on creating more content because we should, because that's the world we live in now, and also like people want to see what we're up to. So follow us. Yes. All those places.
Awesome. And thank you all for joining us again this week for yet another episode of Dance Talk Realness. Please make sure to follow us across our platforms on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Dance Talk Realness across all of them. Still not doing Twitter. I gave up. It'll be fine. Maybe one day. We'll see what happens. Miracles happen every day. You never know. Be sure to leave comments, any suggestions that you have, any questions that you have for me or that you want me to pose to some of my previous guests, that I can ask them and get that back to you, because I love bringing you fresh new content every week. Look forward to talking to you next time. Bye.